I did want to mention his accomplices, because you were just talking about that, and the woman who was 14 years old at the time. One of his accusers says that his employees recruited her outside of her high school. So she also says she was first approached by a woman acting on Epstein's behalf when she was 14 and attending the Talent Unlimited High School, where she studied musical theater with an eye to becoming a Broadway performer. She says the woman who approached her, who she describes in the complaint as the recruiter, called Epstein a caring guy, someone to know. Saying the recruiter described him as a father figure and told her she should not be struggling, that Epstein wanted to be there for her. Also, her name is Jennifer Araoz, and she names Ghislaine Maxwell. That's one of Epstein's former girlfriends, as she's suing her and his estate.
Yeah, so this is a story that was just absolutely heartbreaking. And so the way that they recruited her out of a high school, he apparently the high school is near her Epstein's apartment, so he must have seen her in the street. She's 14 years old. She's a freshman, not in college, in high school. He sends one of his female accomplices to go and say, "Oh, there's this Mr. Epstein, and he wants to help people who are in need, and he might be able to help you." How would he know you're in need? Why you out of anyone else? But when you're 14, you don't know those things, right? So they bring her into this giant, unbelievable mansion in the middle of New York City. It's a $77 million apartment. And then in the beginning, he doesn't do anything. He's just nice to her. He gives her a camera. He gives her $300 every time she shows up. Comes twice a week, and it seems like, and he says, "Oh, I'm going to be a father." All the women around him say, "Oh, he's a great father figure, father figure." And then a month into it, after they've lured her in and made her a little bit more comfortable, then, "Hey, look, don't be rude. Give me a massage," right? And then the rest unfolds until he finally just attacks her and rapes her. And so we know who Maxwell is, and should she be held accountable in civil court? Absolutely. Doesn't mean that this person is exactly right. That's why you have court proceedings. We'll find out. But should criminal investigators be looking into that as well? Absolutely. Should the women that were labeled, now this is a long time ago, she's now, the victim is now 32 years old. Back then she was 14. She's like, "I don't remember their names, I don't know their names," but there was the recruiter woman, the secretary woman, and the maid woman, and they all we seem to know. The maid would, by the end, bring me straight into the massage room, and the recruiter clearly knew what was going on, would be part of it. When she first comes in, the recruiter gets a camera from Epstein, turns to the little girl and says, "Look at how nice he is, see?" Okay.
They're all playing his game. And what's interesting too is just the fact that the recruiter and all these people kept talking about how he was a father figure. And one thing that I thought was so interesting to point out was the fact that this victim, at the age of 14, she had just lost her father to AIDS. So when you think about people's weaknesses and how to appeal to them and really get to them psychologically, if you're saying father figure, father figure, father figure, and that's the one thing you don't have in your life, you're going to want that even more.
Yeah.
Sami, that's such a great point, because predators look for weaknesses, and they look for people who are unprotected, and they look for people who are oftentimes with women missing a father figure, right? And in this case, they found out from her that her father died from AIDS, and then Epstein pretended to contribute to AIDS charities so that he could gain her trust. And she thought, well, he's such a good guy that does stuff like that, I guess I could trust him. I mean, monster of monsters, right?
It's awful.
Yeah, but for a long time, everybody knew that he was into young underage girls, and nobody did anything about it, let alone when they let him skate about a decade ago.
Right, so 13 months, and we've heard all about that prison sentence.
Yeah, actually, I want to just give you a couple more details that I found out recently. We already told you about that so-called prison sentence. They let him out of jail for 6 out of 7 days.
What?
Where's the prison part?
Right.
Okay, anyway, for 12 hours at a time, he could go to his office, he could go to his home. He'd get bodyguards to go to his home, and they wouldn't guard him, they'd guard the home. But now we find out that no, they didn't even lock his cell. He'd just walk around. Sometimes he'd walk around naked because he ran the place. He was treated like a celebrity. And so, but that's not even what I'm referring to. Donald Trump has said, "Oh, Jeffrey, everybody knew he liked girls. He liked them young, okay?" And he said he liked girls almost as much as I did. But we all know that he liked them young. This was before his arrest. So not this arrest, before the first arrest. So Trump knew Everybody that knew him knew that he would constantly bring young girls to the parties, young girls, underage girls to his pool. Trump, I think, joked around about how, I don't want to put it on Trump because it's not in front of me right now. I know one celebrity at least joked around about, well, I'd go to the pool and I'd see the girls and I thought, well, he's such a humanitarian helping out the high school kids in the area.
Oh my goodness.
So they all knew, and they didn't do a goddamn thing about it as he was doing these monstrous things. And now that he's caught, all of a sudden, now he's dead and nobody can find out any of the secrets.
Right.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.